And now to more of my one-on-one conversation with Prince Harry ahead of his new memoir, Spare. He opened up to me about his mental health struggles, how he didn't cry for a decade after losing his mother, Princess Diana, and the moment he truly accepted her death, and how he still feels her presence today. Take a look. It's the image seared into so many minds. 12-year-old Prince Harry and 15-year-old Prince William, heads bowed, walking behind a horse-drawn carriage holding their mother's coffin. You said you didn't cry for years.
I didn't. The first time I cried was at the burial.
But then after that?
After that.
For years?
Yeah.
Why?
It wasn't through lack of trying.
You just...
I tried. Yeah. Believe me, I tried. But there was nothing there. I was numb.
In his new memoir, Spare, Harry's describing the morning of August 31st, 1997, when his father, now King Charles, delivered the devastating news that Princess Diana had been killed in a Paris car crash.
As a dad, I would never, ever want to have to break that news, ever. So I have a huge amount of sympathy and compassion and understanding now about how ill-equipped, I guess, my dad was. How ill-equipped anybody would be in that situation. And also the acceptance that, or the realization that he was undoubtedly awake since 1 a.m., since the moment that he was told of the crash. He waited until he woke me up in the morning. But for me, it was really important to be able to sketch that scene and share with people where my story really began.
Were you comforted in any way?
I don't think my family knew what to do. I don't think they knew what to do, and I can't say whether other families would have done a better job. I wish I had the ability or the opportunity to do some form of therapy, or at least be able to talk more about losing my mum and celebrating her life. But who's to say that at age 12, whether I would have even said yes to that?
You talk about how for a while, you, in your mind,
magical thinking.
You said, yeah, she's hiding.
Yeah.
There's no way this could have happened to my mom. She is hiding. Why do you think you went that route?
Yeah, I think 100% it's a defense mechanism, right? I think for anyone, especially if you're a kid. I was 12 years old. I refused to accept that that was what had happened. If you asked me the questions like, how would your life have differed if you'd done therapy then? Well, I probably would have done less drugs. I would have probably drunk less, partied less. Not to say I wouldn't have partied and done all those things, I probably would have done, but not for the reason that I was doing them. For me, it was kind of either trying to find a feeling or numb a feeling. But my military service literally saved me.
You have 2 tours in Afghanistan. You learned to fly an Apache helicopter, which is not easy to do, and not many people know how to do that. It seems like you found your purpose in the military.
It seems perfect because I then had the opportunity to be part of something bigger than myself. I was born into service. It runs in my blood. I'm always going to serve communities. I'm always going to serve people as much as I can and use this position for good. And I really get genuine healing from helping other people. Ultimately, it challenged me beyond anything else that I could have ever imagined.
Were you surprised that you recognized some of these things within yourself that you've seen other soldiers suffer from that possibly could have gone back to your childhood when you were 12 years old and you lost your mother?
Yeah, and you know, for me, it was very much PTSI, more of an injury than a disorder. And I fully appreciate that for a lot of these guys and girls, not just in the military, but across society as a whole, that people are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. But I've tried to reframe it as much as possible to say it's an injury because you can actually heal from it.
In 2014, Harry launched the Invictus Games.
Over the next 4 days, we will see some truly remarkable achievements, and I have no doubt that lives will be changed this weekend.
Bringing wounded veterans together from all over the world to compete and pave a new path.
You need to be able to create the opportunity for them to be able to redefine themselves post-injury. And I don't know whether it's selfish or not, but I started to feel a huge amount of healing in myself as well.
Healing for himself, Harry says, came with therapy. the final piece of the puzzle that helped him process his grief over his mother and start a new chapter with his wife, Meghan, and their 2 children, Archie and Lilibet. However, Princess Diana still has a strong presence. Harry recalling a visit to his mother's grave in 2017 to mark the 20th anniversary of her death, and a candid conversation he says he shared with his brother.
They talk about at her grave, William and I, having that conversation about the fact that he felt as though she was very much in his life and helped set him up, and that he felt as though she'd now moved over and was helping me set my life up. I think my mother would realize the missed opportunity with Meghan being part of the institution, part of the monarchy.
Do you think in the 21st century there's a place for the British monarchy?
I genuinely believe that there is. Not the way that it is now.
Do they need to modernize? And if so, in what way?
I think the same process that I went through with regarding my own unconscious bias would be hugely beneficial to them. It's not racism, but unconscious bias. If not confronted, if not learned and grown from, that can then move into racism. But there was an enormous missed opportunity with my wife.
I understand what you mean when you said there was a lost opportunity with your wife, but explain that to those who may not.
Representation is what she said to me right from the beginning, is representation. And I, as a privileged white man, didn't really understand what she was talking about.
You get a chance to tell your story now. Your brother may never have that chance. Are you sympathetic to that?
Yes, 100%. This book is not about the relationship between me and William. This book is about my life. But within my life, the relationship between me and my family and me and the British press naturally plays a huge part in how I am where I am today.
You said you want your father and brother back. Do you think that this book is going to bring them back, or are they going to further divide you?
I have thought about it long and hard, and as far as I see it, the divide couldn't be greater before this book. But I genuinely believe that if me and my family can reconcile, can put our differences behind us, but first there needs to be conversation and accountability. And if that doesn't happen, then that's very sad. But I will focus on my life, my amazing family that I'm so grateful to have, my 2 kids who were bouncing up and down me this morning when I was trying to prepare for this. I guess that was the preparation. And, I'm not angry anymore. There are things that will still anger me, but I'm not angry anymore because I am exactly where I'm supposed to be.
And we received a response from the law firm representing Buckingham Palace this morning while we were on the air, saying that the palace needed to, quote, consider exactly what is said in the interview in the context in which it appears, end quote, and asked that we supply them immediately with a copy of the entire interview, which we do not do that. We do not do that as a news organization as a matter of our policy. But he is very much focused on his family right now, being his wife, Meghan, and his 2 kids. And, he's hoping for reconciliation at some point with his family, but he's realistic that it may never happen.
It was the first time that you had met him. What did you come away feeling?
Very, very open, honest. Really enjoyed sitting down with him. I thought he was a great guy,
not defensive at all in the interview.
Not defensive at all, George. And he understands there were questions I was going to ask that he's been asked before that he would have to answer honestly. And he wrote the book, but he understands even with the book saying what he feels, there's still going to be some questions that will be asked of him.
Sure.
But he's not shying away from answering those at all.
You did a great job. You really did.
Thank you.
You really did.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.